in spirituality in general, the goal is unity, right? The connection. And what we got in the New Age trends is actually the opposite of that. So it's a lot of separation, actually, a lot of categorization, separating people into groups. Now we have like 10 different kinds of star seeds, and then we have a group of people that is following a certain guru and another group that is following another guru, and then they are somehow divided and against each other. So we have this huge trend of like separating us even more, which doesn't make sense to me, and was one of the reasons why I got a little bit separated in a way from New Age in general, was really the overwhelm of these different groups, methodologies, different directions, and everyone saying that their one is the best one, and it really smells like religion.
The dark side of the New Age. That is what we are going to be exploring today with our returning guest to the show, Una Singh. Now, she has her self-titled YouTube channel where she talks about self-mastery, non-sleazy business practices, and connecting with others and self.
Dark side of the New Age. Absolutely pertinent topic for the day and age we're in. So, yeah.
Won't keep you waiting. Let's get into it. All right, Una, it's so awesome to have you back on the show as one of our first returning guest.
Thank you.
It looks like things have changed a little bit. Maybe before we just jump into the topic of, say, the dark side of the New Age, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what has changed for you since the last time we spoke.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's so amazing. For me, it has been a phase of profound personal growth. And I did a lot of grounding, right? Coming back to earth and becoming more efficient and practical in my work. So that's the main difference from when we talked about almost 2 years ago. And I'm focused now on helping high performance, high achievers get even more efficient, but also enjoy their work more. By becoming more present, by becoming more connected in their work. So it's shifted from, I think, helping everyone to helping a specific group of people, which is the natural evolution, I believe, when it comes to coaching. And for me personally, yes, it was this period of ease and enjoyment and a lot of rest. And it was a huge slowdown. So I don't know about two of you, but for me, it was like, oh, go back into the body, come back into slowness and see what is right deep inside. So yeah, what about you guys? What has been you at your side?
In a way, I feel like for myself, sometimes it might feel like a little bit of the opposite of what you're talking about. Because when we first started talking with you, we were trying to just get the channel going. And then it turned it into like a madhouse, of like editing and videos. And, we do a lot of connecting with other social media people out there. So it can be busy. But then we've had our slowdown periods where we've taken a week off here, go get grounded, go find ourselves. And then there's also just the like day-to-day keeping up sometimes with spiritual practices and stuff like that. But I don't know.
For some reason, what comes to mind is leaning into the role that's actually yours. Like oftentimes you become the shape of the jigsaw piece that fits the greater picture, right? And for some of us, that's like, it's like, hey man, I want a chance at becoming all analytical minded and focusing on this. But I keep being pushed into this realm where I got to go like to the meditation closet and sort through all kinds of shadowy stuff, like oceans of shadow stuff. Just when you think it's over with, there's more. It's like, man, the amount of time I spent suppressing some of these things is the amount of time I got to spend spelunking into my subconscious. You know what I mean? And so I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to do my role in all this. And that changes. It changes as time goes on. And sometimes when, if you watch the signals and you're like, okay, because I really resonate with what you're saying is entering into this time where you've been told I got to get more practical and I got to shift my focus to this area. Sometimes that's absolutely appropriate. But then sometimes that the clock's up and it's like, all right, time to go back into the more something else. You know what I mean? And you follow the prompts to where you're supposed to be. That's
Mhm.
if that made any sense, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, made complete sense. Yeah. And
Good.
congratulations on your growth. Really, I know that, it must be demanding at the same time, but also expensive and joyful. And it's all there, right? The hustle and the joy of it,
Mm.
and it all comes together. So congratulations, guys, on getting where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Well, let's jump into it now. When we first reconnected, you were asking me about like topics we could look at, and you forwarded out there the dark side of the New Age or
Mhm.
spirituality, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you could kick things off. I'm sure you got some points there that really
Yeah.
stick out to you. So you can lead off, and we'll unpack it.
Yeah, so as I was preparing, as I said, there were like 10 different topics I wanted to cover. And I said, no, let's not do that because this is the time for efficiency in my case. So it would be really, illogical to do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I boil it down to two pillars that I would love to explore with you guys. The first one is a paradox that we are in when it comes to New Age spirituality, because in spirituality in general, the goal is unity, right? The connection. And what we got in the New Age trends is actually the opposite of that. So it's a lot of separation, actually, a lot of categorization, separating people into groups. Now we have like 10 different kinds of star seeds, and then we have a group of people that is following a certain guru, and another group that is following another guru,
Yeah.
and then they are somehow divided and against each other. Like, what the fuck? So we have this
Yeah.
huge trend of like
Yeah.
separating us even more, which doesn't make sense to me and was one of the reasons why I got a little bit separated in a way from New Age in general. Though there are practices I love, there are so many practices I worship and love and adore and use in my life, but it was really the overwhelm of these different groups, methodologies, different directions, and everyone saying that their one is the best one, and it really smells like religion, right? Like
Oh
we're doing
yeah. Oh yeah.
a similar thing in spirituality. Did you notice that as well in your work?
Oh, for sure. That's definitely what like ideology can get attached to anything, and you can get really absolutist about certain
Yes.
practices and the way that it has to be.
Yeah.
Which usually can like lead into like cults and some strange
So it's
behavior.
almost impossible not to contradict yourself or something, right? Because like in the past, I've been like, I'll go through a whole epoch where I'm like, don't believe anything, stop believing anything. I don't care what you do with it, just don't believe it. And now I'm like, maybe I'll come on here and go, believe harder, believe stuff. You know what I mean? There's fruit in believing.
It's
I
confusing.
might just do that. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. It just seems to be the way it is. It's like this reality machine that we're all inside. Just it doesn't fail to surprise. Doesn't fail to surprise
Mhm.
at what works and what doesn't, moment by moment, and you know.
Yes, and at the end of the day, it's actually what you were pointing to. It's coming back to your inner compass, to your own inner wisdom, to your own connection with the spirit, with God, with universe, call it as you like. So for me, it was turning off social media, right? I had to, at one point, I was so entangled actually in all of those different, as you said, cult-like
Mm-hmm.
directions in spirituality, and I was like, whoa, I need to feel myself again. I need to connect to that
Mm-hmm.
inner source of
Mm-hmm.
wisdom that is usually a very, very simple. It has no label, it has no right name
Yeah.
sometimes. It's really just presence,
Mm-hmm.
literally presence. So it was a journey of disconnecting and then seeing the unity and then seeing the connection and then seeing like, oh, when I spend some time with people who are not spiritual, though everyone is spiritual, right? Some people are just aware of that and some are not, and we are all on different paths, but connected with people who are not into spirituality, they're not into woo, right, at all. And I was like, wow, I got these new perspectives and I saw some bullshit, right, that we have been fed with. And I realized we are all literally human and we are all on the path. It just looks different. It's called a different name. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we name it. And that, I think, is that dark side, right, that I wanted to pinpoint at the very beginning. It doesn't matter how you name your philosophy, your direction, the group you think you are a part of, right? It doesn't matter. Like, are you a decent human? Are you kind? Are you kind to yourself? Like, these are basic things. And for me, it was almost, a calling into sanity. Like, come back into that simplicity and come back into that wholeness. And it was such a relief. Trust me, at first it was very, very weird. I felt like, again, I was a misfit. Again, I do not belong, right? All of those stories. But after a while, it was such a relief. Like, I'm just existing. Like, this is so good.
Just
It's
existing,
like
yeah.
freedom, right? It
Oh yeah,
doesn't
you don't
matter.
realize the shackles of the dream or the ideology you're caught up into until you're relieved from it sometimes. It's
Yes.
funny. It's like I don't really like oftentimes being, I suppose it depends on the nature of it. If somebody comes up and is like, you're awesome, maybe I'm okay with being put into that box, but it doesn't always
Yes.
feel good for people to be like, you're away or something, right? And I wonder if reality is similar in a sense because, I'll find myself saying something like, just get in touch with the part of yourself that's not doing anything, or that like what part of you is there, whether you're asleep or you're awake, that was there before you were born and will remain after you die. I'll say something like that. And then I'll go, there'll be another part of me that speaks up that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't remember. You only don't remember since you were born, bitch. Like you don't remember anything before you were this and that. Like there's a keep it real part of yourself. And so I wonder if reality itself is like, don't box me in. I'm allowed to be whatever. I'm allowed to be utterly limited and I'm allowed to be unlimited when you didn't expect it. I'm allowed to surprise you. I'm allowed to be something you can anticipate at times. And so it's like, unity. Yeah, that's something that often comes up. It's like people want to go from feeling disconnected to utterly connected. Let's become one thing if we can. But every now and then it's nice to feel like your own thing too. Sometimes when you feel lonely, it's like you need to go get with yourself. You're just feeling disconnected from yourself. But sometimes it's go be around people. You know what I mean? You're a social creature. Go be around some people. It's both.
Yeah.
Yes.
It can be everything.
That's the paradox that you were talking about, right? Which is so confusing for, people because sometimes we get stuck into a headspace where it's like, well, we tried something, it worked once, okay, rinse and repeat. I'm going to do that thing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they find that same thing that they were doing isn't still working for them, but it worked once before them. And so they keep doing it until they like see the limit of it. And so I think sometimes that is what we're doing out here in the spiritual community is like we're pushing things to see the limits of it to then move on to the next phase of the journey. And that starts for people at different times in their lives, like different opportunities, different things that take place.
Definitely. And as you were talking, I also remember that, we had that light and love phase when everything is love and everything, like when we look at phases of New Age spirituality, right? And then it was like, oh no, everything is shadow, let's go into darkness.
You can see it in the culture. It literally starts to spread. You're like, okay.
Now I feel, yes, it's time of integration. Like they're both there. We are all of that. Come on, let's collide on those and create the balance you were actually talking about. And it's all about the balance. Now it ties up to the second pillar, and we can also go back and forth with these ones, right? The second one that I noticed in New Age spirituality a lot is the emphasis, actually emphasizing the doing, all of the list of things that we need to do, a list of techniques that we need to do throughout the day, the amount of meditation that we have to do, and it's actually pushing us away from beingness and just being and being present, which is the essence of spirituality in general, like being a spiritual person. And for me it was like, how many practices do I have to have in my day in order to be a decent grounded human? Like, come on, like, how seriously? And it turned into this different, spectrum of techniques and regulation methods, and all of this is great. I'm not saying anything wrong about it. There is nothing wrong with it, but it again was the overload of doing. And again, I looked at my schedule and I had a task list of techniques and methods and approaches I had to do in order to come back to myself. And I was like, what the fuck, this doesn't make sense, right? And I had, again, that's my approach. I make clean slate, right? I just disconnect from it all, and that helps me see, like, what do I actually need? And it boils down to a couple of deep breaths, just a couple of getting attention into my body, feeling my body, getting that perspective that is a little bit expanded, and it does the work. Like, that's it. That's it.
There's the religiosity thing coming in there, right? Because you set up all these tasks, all these rules that have to be followed, and then you may have like escaped, some absolutist way of, faith or something like that, and felt all that relief at one time of like, oh, that guilt, all that shame, all that stuff that I was feeling before is gone. And then, you're a few years into the spiritual journey, and then you're like, starting to feel guilty again. Starting to like all that.
Maybe this is a new kind of guilt. Guilt.
Yeah.
I'm not meditating enough,
Well, one thing that stands out about what you're saying is carving your own path, which is like could totally just be true. You know what I mean? Think about it for a sec. Are we supposed to do things our own ways? One guy learns about Jesus going into the desert and starving for 40 days. And so he's like, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be the next Jesus. It's like, what are you talking about? You're going to go do this because some guy said to do it? Or, you know what I mean? Some guy said it worked for him. Do exactly what's your thing. And sometimes that might even be copying. And sometimes it'll be something completely unique. It's like you wouldn't, I can't talk too much about it because this person was so severe about their spiritual practice. They were so it was so precious to them. But it was like just a task you would never imagine got somebody connected to spirituality is what they did. And they would get into a flow state and it sustained their spiritual life for a while there. It could be anything,
Definitely. And you touched upon comparison as well, which is another dark layer of New Age spirituality. And I literally heard those words, from my friends and everything. Like, who meditates the most? Like, you meditate more than me. Like, are you more spiritual? Or you're, I don't know, vegan, so that makes you more spiritual. Or you are recycling, so you're more spiritual. Like, what the hell? Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Slow down.
I've also got bills to pay and like somebody in the hospital I got to look after. Like, every situation's so unique, man. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. Shouldn't be judging people, shouldn't be judging ourselves and comparing like that,
It's silly. It's silly.
You could be just going to work and providing for your family, and that's a spiritual duty being done, right? It could be things.
No, it isn't. You should humble yourself before the person that knows the truth.
Oh gosh,
isn't that horrible, man? But it's like, that shadowy stuff's in there, man. It's like, it's just narcissistic stuff that's, I think, sometimes more common than people realize, Anyway, to get dark. I thought we were going to go dark here.
Well, it is dark. It is dark because it keeps people miserable. I mean, I know it kept me miserable. And I was like, okay, I'm doing all the things, right? I'm doing the things that gurus are saying that I should do. I'm following trends, and I'm not happy. I don't feel that I'm connected. And the thing is, I mean, there are, again, many practices I still love. Okay, cool. But actually placing them on a pedestal, that was the problem. That was the problem. And placing those things and techniques and practices and philosophies as more important than my own organic connection with myself, that was the problem. And when I connected with myself, suddenly there was no comparison. I couldn't give less fucks what guru said or didn't say, right? I mean, doesn't matter. Are you in Teal Swan clan or in Chopra clan or whatever? These are all humans. They're flawed. They poop and pee just like everyone else.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the Teal Swan documentary, man? I loved it.
God.
I loved it. I was like, thank you, universe, for making this, because it's so true. It's like, she says some of the stuff herself. She's like, I'm a complete petulant child in some ways, you know what I mean? Like
But
she
it's
didn't say those
natural. We're
words,
all
but
human, right? It's natural. But again, it doesn't have to direct or redirect your own
Mhm.
journey. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
And that was the point of liberation for me. And again, that deeper layer is really giving our power away, right? And I did that. I created intuitive readings, for example. I did that on my channel, right? And after a while, I realized, like, no, people do not need this. They don't need that. They need their own channel of intuition being activated again, their own personal connection with divine. So now I see myself as a reconnector. I don't see myself as a guide that much anymore. Teacher, especially not a teacher, right? I cannot teach you anything, but I
Right.
can be in my own presence, in my own body, connected with my own wisdom, and that will activate that same connection you have within you.
Spontaneously.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know what I like about what you're saying is you're like,
Exactly.
I'm approaching this group of people. Sometimes I think it's good to know, have an idea of what your specific ability or your role is and to who. Because
Yeah.
there's like, it brings to mind like there's like this old story, and it's like these wizards, these like sages or something, and the one
Yeah.
guy, he finds this wizard and he goes, somebody wronged me and I want the powers to get him back. And the wizard's like, okay, this is going to be a big deal though. This is going to take a long time. And the guy starts the path, and then after years of practice and everything like that, he finally learns the lesson the wizard has to tell him. And it's by the time he has the power to get revenge, he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Exactly.
And so the importance of that is a lot of things are like that. It's like by the time everything's different, but you got to take the path. You don't get the wisdom. It's like, well, why don't I skip all that and I'll just fine. I don't want revenge then. It's like, no, you do. You're lying. You've got those petty feelings, and you're gonna have to work them out. And so that's where knowing who you're like, I don't have no interest in teaching. What am I going to teach? It's like, that's right. But you had to get to that point. There's some people that still operate in the realm of, I have something to teach and I can corral people in a certain way, and they're doing their thing. I think that's where the capacity to not judge comes in. You're like, they're working it out. They still got things to work out in their specific avenues, but you're doing what's appropriate for you.
Yes, and it's perfectly fine, and it's the part of their unique journey, as you said. I mean, all of this, as we already covered, right? A couple of different things that are related to the dark side of spirituality. These are all fine, and these are all okay. I've been through that. My friends, still going through it, or they, maybe I will come back into it in order to discover something new. And again, these are the cycles. So I want to emphasize that there is nothing wrong with that. It's just the invitation into a wider perception. This is just an invitation to come back and literally touch the grass, sit on the ground, and spend some time without being informed on what is going on, and is it eclipse or is not eclipse? Is this a new moon in Capricorn or Aries? Sirius B? I don't know.
I'm
Without
late for the eclipse. Damn it!
no, wait, are we aligned? Is this interview aligned? If it's not aligned with astrology, I mean, guys, what are we doing?
Right.
Just cut it
Oh,
out.
it's like obsessive compulsive disorder or something. It's like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think there's different times for everything, right? I think a lot of people, they're just getting out of like a chaotic situation if they're new to spirituality or something like that. I think there's like, a place for everyone in all this. Like there's probably some of these communities that people have, gotten immersed into and then started a, meditation practice and they're sitting under a guru. I think this is like a phase that I think a lot of us even need to go through, or maybe not. I don't know. Like, but it does happen. It is in our existence.
Mm-hmm.
So people are doing this, and then it's like almost getting comfortable with, all right, it's okay to leave now. It's okay to, and even though they may be in a toxic situation, what they were doing before was way more toxic. It might have been like they may be coming out of something and then, getting caught up in getting attached to ideological beliefs and thinking things have to be a certain way, but it's better than the life that they were living before. And then they go through that and they see the limits of it, and then they come out of it, and then, they move on. I think all of us, I've been there. I thought I had to do things a certain way for a long time, and then, wow, I've been wasting time for like a year now doing that thing. Time to start, trying something else.
Retrospect is a hell of a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how you can look back on something with one type of perspective, and then you look at it and everything's different because you're looking at it with different eyes?
That's a beautiful, compassionate perspective that you just shared, really. Because again, there is nothing wrong going through those phases. Like I had a phase when I was all about Teal Swan, for an example. I had a phase when I was all about astrology. I had a phase when I was all about, the different phases, literally. But may this interview that we're having now be the permission slip for someone who needs to hear this, like you are allowed to have your own path that might be drastically different than your friends, than your community, than everything you have been feeding yourself with. Like may this be the permission slip to just take a step back, like I did, right? It doesn't have to be that, but it can be that. We're taking a step back and seeing like, okay, if I spend an entire day not being informed, like not being in the trenches of trends, right? If I just take myself out of it for a while, how do I feel and what is really going on? And this ties into that shadow part that you mentioned at the very beginning. It's like, okay, then something comes up and then you can truly see it and feel it and process it, and it becomes right easier and easier in time to process the shadows and the dark, because you are not fed with, again, is the moon in Capricorn, or is this the new portal of this or that? Every single moment is a portal. Every single second, millisecond is a portal. Where you can return to yourself, return to your body. I'm getting shivers. Return to God, come back into presence, right? Every single second. And those illusions that we have constructed, again, from the very good intention, like these are all amazing things, right? They're coming from the intention of connection. Like we wanted to connect so badly that we created all of these structures and illusions that we essentially do not need. And we can still use them for fun or because we simply like them, but being dependent on intuitive readings, being dependent on astrology, being dependent on what Teal will say or will not say. We are mentioning her because she's so right popular. It doesn't matter who it is, but being dependent on that is, that's just, it doesn't have to be like that. There is a better way. So the point of this, right, conversation is to open up different, perspectives of you can live a simpler life, and it might be different from spiritual trends or anything that you are doing right now, but it can be more yours. It can be what you really, really want to do, or how you really want to function in this world.
It's like
So
a hop,
that's
skip, and a
inspiration.
jump to freedom. It's like just a couple of tweak, and then all of a sudden you're shifted over one reality, and you're like, I'm totally free.
Yes. Yes, which was the point, right, of the spiritual journey. Like we're going, full circle, which is amazing, right? And we can, again, I can use the tarot if I feel invited to it. But now it would be once in 6 months, right? Because
You can
that
make your own
invitation
tarot
is
pack.
inside.
You could
Sorry?
start using some other thing. You
Yeah.
could do whatever you want.
Exactly. Or nothing.
Or nothing, yeah. You go to watch, check this. This is very profound. I'm not doing anything. This is good. This is good. Holy
Now you're
shit!
thinking
What's he
about
doing?
anything, so you're just thinking. The thinking is doing this alone.
Yeah. We can get back to the dark side points in a minute, but I want to take a little bit of a detour in this whole subject of the new age, because
Yes.
when I was looking for topics, sometimes I like to watch YouTube videos and stuff like this. I don't know. Did you do any searches yourself on the dark side of, like on YouTube, for the dark side of new age or spirituality?
Well, the idea came from a YouTube video. It was actually named like that, The Dark
Yeah.
Side. But I didn't watch it. It was just like an idea. And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, I love this. I could talk about this. I have my own experience, but I didn't, share what
Well,
you...
just because when I did that search on YouTube,
Yes.
I noticed like an infinite ocean of evangelical Christians having like really harsh
Oh,
things to say about the New Age movement. And I'm not
oh,
here
that's
to attack Christians or evangelicalism, but there is something fascinating there about that, because you've got that religious entity as the evangelical church, and then
yeah.
you've got kind of like New Age. Maybe we can talk about the friction there. Why do we think that they've decided to go after that? Like when you look up evangelicalism and stuff like that, the videos are sparse and they're kind of scattered. But for some reason, there's an attachment with the New Age movement
Mhm.
and evangelical Christianity online, at least that I've noticed, that very
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
maybe I would say the probably the most obvious thing might be that they see it as a threat, or they, because it's never anything good to say about the New Age. It's usually always something bad. But but why do you think there's such a friction there between, the church
Mhm.
and New Age in particular? Because it's never the church versus Hinduism or the church versus Islam. There
Hmm.
are videos out there, but I'm just saying, New Age, they really grabbed onto that one.
Yes, but I think it's the difference in main principles. Like literally, as you said, religion is strict. It is structured in a certain way.
Mm.
Spirituality, even New Age spirituality, right, is about expansion. It is about freeing, right? And those directions are so different. It's no wonder that they are kind of allergic to that. I mean, for me, again, any direction that is strict is really, I don't resonate with that anymore. Like I just want to be a human, and I just want to be able to connect with myself and just want to be me, right? Whatever that might mean in a particular moment. So yes, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Really, it's like, how do we want people to develop? Do we want people to develop, going into more structure, becoming more strict, becoming like dogmatic in a way? That's kind of a religious approach, and it has been like that forever.
Yeah.
And or we want people to become more freer, more connected, more independent and interdependent. Do we want them, right, to explore reality? Like, do we want to say how reality is? That's kind of a religious part. We are going to tell you that reality is like this. We're going to tell you that God looks like this and behaves like this. We're going to tell you, and you're going to obey. And in spirituality, it's like you're not going to obey anything. You
Mm-hmm.
can pick, right? You can choose, you can change, you can transform, and it's normal and encouraged to evolve.
Yeah.
So it's a light side of New Age
It's
spirituality.
and talk about a catch-22, man, because like I think
Mhm.
something happens a lot where people will pick the spiritual path and they'll go off, and a lot of it ends up being sort of psychological too,
Yeah.
like in the realm of psychology. They'll come back and they can kind of see what's going on in the system. They can see shadowy stuff like, okay, this whole system exists to suppress this, and this system exists to deny that or uphold this sort of false sense of security in this way, and all these different things, which is like human psychology. It's like the realm of the conceptual, right?
Yes.
And I think what can happen sometimes is somebody takes this spiritual path. They go off and they meditate like crazy, or they consult the stars, or they learn a bunch of stuff, and they come back and they think that this is like applicable to everybody or something. It's like, I said something to the monk that we interviewed. I said, I don't think the rules are the same for the seeker as they are for the master. And that sounds like, I know how that sounds. It sounds like a toxic, narcissistic thing to say. What do you want from me? I'll own the title if that's what it takes. But I'm
Yes.
saying the seeker isn't the same thing as the dang person that's found something. They're not the same, and their message might be more like, sometimes when I'm talking to our audience, I'm like, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to the person that comes on here accidentally and's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, I got bills to pay. It's like, well, I'm not addressing your bills right now. I'm addressing something else of a spiritual nature.
Yes.
And if you're not there, you're not there. Your path might be to go out and, depending on the person, there's some people that are
Mhm.
literally, it sounds like obvious as hell, but it merits saying, some people are just trying to find food still. They're not interested in some of these things. They got to cover
Mhm.
that. And then when you get people that have done radical things, like, maybe
Yes.
gone on like month-long retreats or something like that, or they've taken psychedelics or whatever it is, their message like isn't, in my opinion, just for everybody. It's like for a certain initiated group or something. And we all get sort of specific in that way. You know, your message might
Mm.
resonate to exact precise type of people. Our message resonates to exact type of people. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. I'm coming with a question and want to ask you as well. What might be like true spirituality for you?
I described it the last time because I suppose the answer kind of changes over time with me.
Yeah.
As of lately, I sort of think of it as a blind spot, which sounds like, well, that means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm like, I don't mean that kind of a blind spot. I don't mean like something I don't know yet. I mean,
Mm.
it's amazing I'll put it like this. It's amazing what interrupts spirituality for me. Like I
Mhm.
can even go, and because circumstances often when things get too hectic, too busy, too crazy, it's like I feel compelled to go off and get in touch with what's the deepest aspect of reality. And when I
Yeah.
do that, it's like, why don't I always just stay like this? But then life bleeds in, and next thing you know, you're caught up in a dream, and you'd be full of shit to say that you're at peace. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not at peace. Things are crazy right now. But
Mhm.
spirituality is like, when you get there, when you have stopped listening to every prompt your mind or your body or the society or the news says, and you get to the bottom. It's like the bottom. It's the basic part of things, which is really just okay with everything, even pain, even suffering, all that stuff. It can see it, and it understands, and it's fine. It's like something like that.
Mm.
You know, I know that is not very sound biteable,
Yeah.
but
Well, I don't know. On my side, I feel like it's when it comes to spirituality, it's not like a mountain you could point at and say, there it is. I feel, just to spin off of kind of what he said, is that you can only be maybe like referenced, or uh, it seems like it's sometimes stopping the resistance of reality. It's like, stop
Mhm.
resisting reality, embrace it the way that it is, and don't stop labeling it, judging it, and giving ideas about what it is. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then that's kind of wrestling with this physical body who wants to like rationalize everything and put everything into some constructed box and make sense of it. The spirituality seems like the practice of like letting that go,
Yeah.
as much as you can, which is difficult, like we'd all be floating around, maybe as gurus or something if it was that easy. But it seems like
Mhm.
it's a complicated thing that, these bodies, these meat sacks, got to work with.
Yes. Mhm. Yes, I resonate with both of you in a way. And I would add to that, like what you said, and I will add a new layer on top of that. For me, spirituality is day after day becoming more and more aware and consciously choosing the role you're going to play in the system. Like
Mhm.
consciously choosing, like, yes, I'm going to be the person that fill the blank.
Mhm.
Today, I'm going to be the person that is kind to others. Today, I'm going to be the person that is honest. And at the same time, because it's inevitable to go off the path, right? It's inevitable. We all fuck up. We all get triggered and everything. It's loving all of that each and every day, like fiercely loving all of that darkness, all of that shit, and all of that light, and all of that truth, everything each and every day, more and more and more. So it's
Hell
like
yeah.
really a
Yeah.
never ending thing, but at the same time it is defined. It is defined, and it is, again, at the end of the day, it is becoming more yourself. Yes, definitely, but also going back to integrity and taking that responsibility back, taking that power back, and knowing that everything that's going on in the world, for an example, there is a reflection of that within you, within your psyche. There is, like, accepting that we are all a part of the whole, right? We're
Mhm.
all, that was something that we covered in the first interview as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We are coming back to that.
The
Like, I am
whole.
a cell of a giant organism that is life, and I'm a
Yeah.
cell of that organism. And yes, I depend on it, and it depends on me, and we are interconnected, undividable. So everything that is going on, it's like, oh, the world is going to hell right now. It's all shit. It's all blah blah blah. Look into yourself and love that fiercely. Just
Yeah.
be with those
Yeah.
emotions, be with those states, and love it. And do not make a drama out of what is inside, and do not make a drama of what is on the outside, because again, it's all divine, it's all the part of the whole, and we will never ever understand the bigger plan. We cannot.
Oh man.
We're not structured to understand it, but we can feel it, we can experience it, right?
Yeah.
Within that system.
I love the use of the word the whole, like as in the whole thing, because it's like, if you have the capacity to cognize this should be like kind of obvious. It's like, does reality waste anything? Is there anything that's really like, that shouldn't be there? Not even anything. You know what I mean? So that validates literally everything that the heck you're going through.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a block for every like angry person. If they could conjure everything that you just said in the heat of their anger, they'd be like, "Ah, it's the way that it's."
But I mean, it kind of validates anger in a way. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna throw away. Like, think about something you were talking about. Like, everybody fucks up. It's like, have you ever met somebody that doesn't get diarrhea if they eat a bad taco? You ever lose the ability to, like, we all are gonna get gray and old and need to be led by the hand and taken care of and humiliated. It's like, and I think at the highest level you wouldn't even want to get rid of that. It's like, I don't want to lose the ability to be humiliated. You know what I mean? Like, I've got people around me that like love me, and when to go back to Teal Swan again, even they saw some pretty ugly sides of her in that documentary, some pretty like humiliating things, but that's real, man. Think of how confusing it is sometimes when they create a character that's supposed to be infallible or something like that. In any system, it's like, oh, this guy's magic. It's like, that causes problems. Get real.
Yes, it's scary. Imagine somebody who is flawless, right? Completely perfect. First of all, it really resembles AI. It really resembles a robot of some kind. And even that creature is not perfect. It already has, flaws. You have a disclaimer in ChatGPT, so some information may be, incorrect. So it says at the very beginning, like, I am flawed and accept me.
And we're all learning this at one thing. Like, nobody's an island. I remember years ago. But remember when the Joker thing was really taking off and the Joker movie was coming out and that was all through culture? I found these old doodles I'd made in high school and stuff, and there was the Joker kept reappearing, and I was like, look at this. Look at how, I was telling my partner, I'm like, look at how prophetic I am. And they were like, yeah, or you're just into something that very lamely a bunch of other freaking weirdos are also into. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's rather than feeling threatened that, like, because sometimes as a creative person, you can be like, people are stealing my ideas. I came up with that a while ago. It's like, no, you're just connected. We're just not that unique at the same time. In one sense, you can think of yourself as utterly unique. But in another sense, you can be like, no, we're in this, what are you so disconnected for? Look at how jacked into everything you are. You're only coming to conclusions that are feedback from the reality around you. You're connected. You can't even separate if you wanted to in some ways.
Exactly. That reminded me of the revelation I had when I got that, step away from everything. And it was, you're not that special. And I was like,
that's good. It's freeing. When you start to feel too special, it's like a big shackle around your waist. To not be special is like, I'm free.
And at the same time, you are unique. I am unique. Yes, but you're not that special. It was like a a punch in the face of my spiritual ego, right? Because there's a construction of, I'm that kind of a starseed. I'm that kind of a healer. I'm that kind of, and I'm helping the humanity ascend. So is everybody else and everything else in existence. Hello. And it was like, but at the same time, very liberating. And it was huge relief of, okay, I can just be a human, and still there are people who will be inspired of what I'm doing. There will be people that will say this is complete and utter bullshit. Awesome. Great. It's just the way it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, like in my most sincere of approaches, somebody could come in and be like, this is why it's bullshit, and this is why you're a problem. You know what I mean? It's like, that's fine. We only got 80, 90 years on this stupid thing anyway. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think it would be very helpful for people, and I don't want to frighten anyone, so I won't go on about it too long. But I think sometimes I think it would be helpful for people to like consider their mortality more. It's okay that this story unfolded and then this story will be over. There'll be so many more stories. There's been an infinite amount behind you. It's not that personal. It's okay, It's not an invitation to end it. Do not do that. That's not love. But But yeah, I don't think it needs to be taken so personally.
In terms of other subsects you could probably put under the dark side of New Age, I think we'd miss the boat here if we didn't talk about spiritual bypassing. That seems to be like a big one. It's starting to get a lot of attention now because I think people are actually seeing it now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they get involved with some type of New Age practice, and then it turns into a lifestyle, which turns into a brand, which turns into like, and then it becomes
Business.
like a distraction of like actually doing any inner work. It's more like, you know, getting social media likes and getting this, and you're busy. And look at, I'm at danger of that. Like we're sitting here on social media talking. You know, I got to go edit this. It's going to take hours to, you know, go through stuff, and so all of it can become some distraction for actually doing the work. Maybe we could talk about that.
Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. And I mean, in reality, you're always going to bypass something, right? We, in this talk that we are doing right now, we are definitely unconsciously bypassing something. But when we say spiritual bypassing, right, we cannot include everything in existence. But in spiritual bypassing, it's really, yes, denying the importance of something that is right here in front of you and looking and staring into you, and you're like, no, it's not happening. I'm going to choose to be positive. I'm going to choose to be this enlightened being or whatever. So that pile of shit in the middle of the room is not there. It's not stinky. No, I'm just going to continue being in my flow and ease and everything. So that's what we mean, to be precise, right? When we say spiritual bypassing, and it is dangerous. And the way to approach it for me, it was really, again, understanding that it's all a part of the whole. Yes. Accepting the fact that I have a choice, right? I have a choice. I can tackle some things and I cannot tackle or do not want to tackle other things, right? But really refusing to see what is obvious, that is dangerous, because slowing down our growth, it is slowing down the healing process, and it is making us less human and less empathetic, truly. So for an example, like talking about, you know, spirituality and saying that the world is in harmony right now, we are just not seeing it. You know, we are actually all light and love, and it's okay, it's fine. You can hear the gaslighting, you can hear the toxicity in that, and it's not serving you, it's not serving others.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how, you know, how you approached this. But for me, it was, again, fiercely loving the dark and fiercely loving the light and everything in between.
Oh
And
man,
the practice of that.
so poignant what you just said. And it opens up questions like, what are we talking about when we talk about love? What is love, for Pete's sake? You know what I mean? You could kind of deconstruct that and get into it. I love that you use the example of shitting in the middle of the room, because lately I've had this idea of like people's resistance to the idea. It's like, what are you, like a shaking dog? You don't do that. You don't do all this personal stuff right in front of people. But I gotta admit, there's a part of me that's like, well, then maybe that's exactly what I'll do. Maybe just to shake things up and try to make things a little more authentic, as I will do something bizarre, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a thing within me recently where I'm trying to figure out what's valid. What is valid? The world's so full of crazy stuff and people demanding things be away, especially in the realm of the topic of love. It's like, how do you demand love be away? Wouldn't it be all like, what are we even talking about? So can we talk about love a little bit? You know, it seems like a hot topic, especially when we're like, we think the world should be unified in love or something like that. Well, what do we mean? You know, maybe in its darkest moments it is. I don't know. I'm not sure I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to be real. That's me taking a shit right in the middle of the room. Like, you shouldn't have admitted that, man. That's bad for business. But
thank you for doing that.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? What is love? What is it? Can we get into that? Maybe it's dark. Maybe it's got some dark things.
It's tough. Yeah. Well, I think there's like an aggressive nature to love. Some, you know, because a lot of people talk about reality as like it's made up of love or something, like everything that's actually going on at the end of the day, it's all love. It's all happening. Well, if that's the case, then, you know, black holes devouring galaxy is love. You know, like
and way worse than that.
Yeah, like, and all the other scary things. So like a reassessment, a reinterpretation of love might be, you know, something we have to get on the table here. But like when I think about love, we grew up in, a Christian church, and then I always think back to First Corinthians, what is it, chapter 13, where it talks about love is patient, love is kind, love is all these things. And I think on that level, it's trying to point towards some type of selflessness. If you have the capacity, as much as it is within your capacity, to see everything as a part of yourself, that may determine on some level your ability to love.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. That like feels true and right.
Yes, and actually it is the verb, right? It is the action. This is what we come to. It's not, I mean, and the highest level, everything is love, everything is created from love, everything is coming back into love, right? It's that kind of love in a human sense, because we are constricted with our senses, with our bodies. We are in this physical reality as humans. Love is the action that comes from that mutual interest. Like, I'm doing the best thing I know in this moment, in my capacity, with that premise of that, yes, you are a part of me and I'm a part of you, and everything is a whole. So I wouldn't do something to you that I wouldn't do to myself or my children, and and it evolves through time. And that's why it's so difficult to catch it and define it strictly, because it evolves. As my self-love evolves, my love evolves as well. As I'm learning to love myself better or in a healthier way, that's how I'm learning actually to love others and entire existence. And it's a gradual process, but it's always an act, it's always action, it's always a verb, and it's always something to be felt and experienced and not understood. And we cannot understand love, and we cannot put it into words. It's impossible. And we say, oh, God loves us, right? We cannot understand mentally, cognitively, the power of that love. And when we connect to it and feel it and experience it in certain difficult situations, when miracles start happening, when something gets resolved and you don't know what happened, right? But it is there, you can feel the presence, the love. You cannot explain it, but you can feel it, you can experience it. And you can point a finger and say, oh yeah, that's probably love. But you can never be completely sure. So in a human sense, it's really, and again, coming back to the definition of spirituality, what it is for me, as I mentioned, it's really becoming, day after day, becoming more present, becoming more connected, becoming more aware. And that's why it's so uncatchable, right? That's why it's so ungraspable. That's why you cannot put it into one definition, because it's ever expanding. But I believe that when someone has the intention of becoming more loving, if someone has the desire to become a person that is more loving, that is love already. And this person is on that path to become the embodiment of love, that readiness, right?
You have wisdom. You've got some wisdom, and there's a really big importance to presence that I think, I don't know if it's hard to frame it the right way, but it's like, so many instances in life, people are like, all right, when we got to get to the next thing. You know what I mean? Well, 10 minutes from home, 10 minutes. It's like your whole life you're doing that, man. How weird would you be if you were the person that like everybody's irritated because it's the moment before the payoff and you're like, this is just as good as whatever we're expecting to happen. It's already here. Not in a pretentious way. You're not like forcing your eyes to bat themselves slowly to look extra enlightened. You actually mean it because you've learned how to be present. You know what I mean? Like that sounded like I was like accusing you. I'm accusing me. I'm saying presence is presence and feeling. You mentioned feelings in there. Like sometimes you can just feel it. Imagine somebody like judging someone because they felt good for the wrong reason or something. You know what I mean? Like, well, I went and did this to earn my good feeling, so your good feeling is blasphemy. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? You know what I mean? This is going to be over soon. This film doesn't last that long, you know what I mean? And the whole time you were not even present. Most of my life, I would say, it is worth it now in retrospect, but I couldn't always say that if I were to, in my past years of my life, if I were to end back then as opposed to now, I would have been like died with regrets. But at this point, it's like I don't really have regrets because
Mm.
I think there is an importance in learning how to be in the moment you're actually in and separate all your conceptions and separate all your ideas from the exact precise present moment. That's important, man. That separates
Mm.
us from robots.
Yes, and the presence is in the foundation of all of that. Literally. Like if I wasn't present with you now, how would our conversation look like? How would it sound? Would it make any
Robotic.
sense? Yeah. It would be a complete, waste of time in a sense of it, because, that is the foundation. If you are not, and we are really, that's a pandemic of disconnection and being unpresent going on in our society right now. Pandemic. People I work with the most, high performers, executives, CEOs, founders, leaders, they are chronically disconnected. But this is the way we are taught to be, right? Do the things, finish the task, become this achievement or that achievement, do this or that, do. It's constantly that carrot dangling in front of us, like, oh yes, when you get there things will be okay, when you get this things will be amazing, you will be happy, etc., etc. And the actually the habit of connecting, the habit of presence, that's what I help them with. And when we achieve that, and when they get present with themselves, everything changes, everything. And it really is that simple. And that's why I said, I'm not teaching anything, I'm not even coaching. There is nothing to do there but to really be. And that is the most difficult thing. Right? Become fully present of ourselves and become present. Like, I'm aware right now there's a part of me that is asking, oh, am I talking too much? There's a part of me that's like, oh, I really enjoy this conversation, and they're all here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like the conclusions I've had to arrive at, doing just in interpersonal work. It's like, man, this is a little schizoid. There's like some really like fully autonomous parts of my mind arguing with each other, but that's real, man. I think that's more common, whether people are aware of it or not. I think that's more common, And as you were talking, I had this idea of like, there could be president spirituality out there. There could be kings. He wears the crown of I have the authority on it, and he not be present. You know what I mean? And like, it's like, dude, what do you really know if you can't even value somebody doing something completely different from you? And it's, you got to admit it's working for them. Or not, or just stay deluded and think that, joy and peace can only be earned. I don't know. Well, it's like, what do you want me to feel? Doom? You know what I mean? Like, your frailties should make you feel doom. It's like, no, I'm not doing that then. Then you've conjured rebellion within me. I got to be able to do what I got to do,
I'm glad you started this one off with talking kind of about the paradoxical nature of all this, because for the next subpoint I'd like to bring up, I think it really taps into that, and that's the commercialization of spirituality and the New Age. Because we all know we all got to live, we all got to make money, we all got to pay our bills, we all got to do this stuff. And then there's also, we're very aware of this like multi-million-dollar business of, selling little pebbles for $100 that, proclaiming that they'll, cure cancer if they...
Well, they might if you believe hard enough.
Another pillow.
Who's to say, you know what I mean? There's somebody out there been healed by a pebble.
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, we had mentioned before this because, we were talking about false hope, right? It's like, because false hope, has probably helped people. It's done something to their chemistry. They believed so hard in this thing that really didn't have any magical properties, but their belief in it was, a thing that,
today's pebble profit is tomorrow's whipping that pebble into the forest. I hate this thing. I don't care that it healed me. I don't want to carry a pebble with me anymore. That's real. That's real though. Like, that shit like that happens, man. There's some stuff, like, if you're gonna go all the way down, you enter into the realm of the profane in some ways. Like, I gotta do this or I'm gonna be shackled, man. I gotta be willing to accept whatever this throws at me, because I just don't want to be a slave. I do not want to be one. To even things, but in the meantime, it's true. I think that you could pick up somebody could sell you something, and that's what you needed. That's why I'm saying, you're going to judge something that saved somebody. The stories of things that actually somebody, like, I was about to go into a dark place and this saved me. I'm not into arguing with somebody that says that and be like, well, you were stupid for being saved by that. But I am cool with going, you don't have to do it forever. Just because that
Exactly.
saved you at one point, you can move on. You can change.
Yeah, it's such a layered topic, but as you said, I mean,
know.
there is, yeah, it's like commercialization, whatever the word is, at the one side, and then there is another side of spiritual community that is allergic to money. It's like I'm doing this purely from love, and I'm broke, and I'm doing a great work, and I'm helping people, and I will not charge. I will not charge for that. And there is like, okay, so we have, two very, very distinct sides. One is about idolization of money on one side. And again, putting it on a pedestal and doing things for money, which are often, yes, really immoral and really not fair towards people. Placebo effect is real. Yes, it is okay. But do we have to, use it the whole of the time and really
No.
just yes misuse it in a way? No. And on the other side, there are people who are really struggling, and I was like that for a big part, and I'm still finding my way, my healthy relationship with money, with financial wealth, and understanding that yes, I can be kind and giving, and I can also have enough money to live a decent life. It's okay, it goes together, because I was in the savior mode, right, doing things for people and
Martyr
depleting my
mode.
the process, right, depleting my energy because I was over giving, and it was a way for me to connect, and da 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 da. And again, that was my shadow. But on the other side, scamming people, there's a lot of scams, there's a lot of things that are really not decent in spiritual community. As you said, saying that the pebble cures cancer is not moral. Saying that it might, if you really believe hard enough and you really put all of your faith. But again, it's faith, it's not the pebble, right? So let's name it as it is. So there
The
are, yeah.
people you can convince that selling pebbles, knowing they don't heal, is immoral, already probably aren't selling pebbles, or they're the worst pebble salesman you've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? But the guy that you want to convince, dude, this is gonna karmically screw you. He would be like, thanks for revealing your cards. I'm glad you believe in karma, because I'm gonna just screw you with more pebbles. You know what I mean? Like, it gets so. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know the point I'm trying to make. It's like, I agree, obviously, and part of the lesson you learn when you're like radically honest is that you cheat yourself so often when you're less than as authentic as you absolutely can be. It's just, you just cheat yourself. You know what I mean? You earn something that is hollow. It's more hollowness.
Yes, and it can be felt. It can be
felt. Yeah.
Once we are, and that's why I always, and that it was the basis of my work, and it continues to be, and I think it will be the foundation of what I'm doing, helping people return, actually being the representation of what it means to be connected to yourself, to your own instincts, intuition, wisdom, because when you are tapped in, you can see, you feel, oh, there is something fishy here. Oh, this doesn't feel right. They have this perfect marketing. This person has, flawless funnel. It is really saying all the right words, but something is off, right? And that's when we can really differentiate between people who are really honestly doing the work and truly want to help people and want to be of service, and people who just want to make money and using spirituality to just become richer, not even wealthier, because it's not through wealth. I can bet that they're not happy. I can bet that they are not fulfilled.
Oh, yeah. And all the fruits of that unhappiness are obvious for everybody to see. It's like screamed from a rooftop. It's funny that there'll be somebody that uses scripture. Like, I'm not a Christian, for God's sake. I really don't think I am. I don't think I'm one, but I use it a lot because there's so many good quotes from the Bible, right? And one of them is, better is a small morsel and the peace therein than a kingdom at the cost of your soul, or something like that, right? Yeah. And there's somebody that otherwise would, but people pick and choose. Like, there's somebody who'd be like, you shouldn't be quoting scripture. Like, how do you know it's even real? It's like, that's not the point. The point is that, you know what I mean? Like, if your kingdom cost you your soul, then a small morsel is better. If that's the reality. I'm not anti-money. I'm cool with being rich. I'm also cool with not being rich. You know what I mean? Whatever is gonna give me the actual situation of, like, whatever's real, whatever's the reality of the situation is what I'm going for. Acceptance of what is. That's me personally. You know what I mean? I know there's like hostility in there, but I'm just thinking about all these things we're talking about, like still trying to narrow it down to a way, but the way is in the knowing. The way is experiential. It's like you'll only know if you turn over the stone what was under there. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. And that shifts between I got to eat to, you know what I mean? To I want to get at something else.
Yeah.
That's freedom. That's freedom.
Money's a strange one because I don't think we'll really know what the truth was about money until after we're done with it. I think if humanity can actually, transcend money, I think when we get to that point, we'll be able to sit back and really see, what it did to us as humanity and the ins and outs, because we're so dependent. It's like that thing in life. It's like food. It's like air right now, money. So and this is the way that we've set it up to try. It's like this, fake monopoly machine that we've created to help organize our societies and structures and nations, to make everything work.
We made it so. Yes, we made it so, but it's actually just the resource. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Una, I want to thank you. That was like the fastest hour ever. Like that was ridiculous. I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show again. This was a beautiful talk, and a lot of great insights shared. Maybe to close things out, maybe for our audience, you could let them know if you have like one overarching message that you want to share with our audience and about yourself, what you're doing, all that stuff. You could do that, and then maybe after that, let them know, where they can find you, what you got going on, and all that good stuff.
Yes. So what's coming as beautiful wrap up of our entire conversation is things are usually simpler than we think. Our mind tends to overcomplicate things, overanalyze. I know mine does that, pull us in different directions, but truth, wisdom, love, all of that is really, really simple. And when you reach that simplicity in yourself, and when you see it and feel it in your environment, connect with that. It's most probably what you need, right? That simplicity and that coming back to foundations. So that's exactly what I do. And that's exactly what I support people, and coming back to that. So at the moment, I have a chamber of calm. That's a beautiful experience with healing music and guidance, meditation, returning to oneself and returning to that power within. So it's like a 3-hour-long workshop. And also it comes with 7 days of my guidance and integration. So you can be that person that is connected throughout your existence, right? Not to be perfect, but to be connected and more intentional. So that's my main offer at this point. And people can find me on unasingh.com, my website, Una Singh on YouTube as well. And I'm on LinkedIn right now. And I'm not on any social media at the moment. I don't think I will be coming back. So I'm not on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not there. So this is really the simplification at my side, because I feel that, that feels good to me. That is really how I want to operate. Being simple, being clear, being present, intentional. So that's what I help people do. So welcome to my world. Let's stay connected and let's rise together.
Beautiful. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much, Una.
Very good.
Awesome.